Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take a stack of research and real-world stories and we try to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge just for you.
Ready to dive in.
Absolutely. Today we are tackling a question that's fascinated thinkers for centuries. What matters more for success? Talent or willpower? We've got some fascinating research and stories lined up that suggest it's not just about being naturally gifted, but about having that grit and that determination to keep pushing forward.
It's a really compelling question because we often celebrate those with natural talent. But the research suggests that willpower might actually be the real key.
Yeah. Think about Michael Jordan getting cut from his high school basketball team, or J.K. Rowling facing rejection after rejection before Harry Potter became a global phenomenon. These aren't just anecdotes. They point to a deeper truth about the power of perseverance.
What's so fascinating is that while talent might give you a head start, it's willpower that seems to sustain success over the long haul. Talent can be like a burst of speed, but willpower is the engine that keeps you going.
Okay, so let's break this down. What exactly do we mean by willpower? How is it different from simply having natural talent?
Well, natural talent is often described as an innate aptitude or ability. It might be a predisposition for music, a knack for languages, or natural athleticism. It's something that often comes easily, even without much effort.
So like that friend we all have who could pick up any instrument and start playing.
Exactly. They just seem to have a natural affinity for it. But willpower is different. It's that inner drive. It's that ability to persevere, to stay focused, to delay gratification, and to bounce back from setbacks.
So if talent is the raw material, willpower is the sculptor who shapes it into something remarkable.
That's a great way to put it. It's about consciously choosing to direct your energy and your focus towards a goal, even when it's difficult.
But is there actual scientific evidence to support this idea that willpower is so crucial for success?
There's a growing body of research that suggests it plays a much more significant role than we might think. For example, the psychologist Angela Duckworth has done extensive work on grit, which she defines as a combination of passion and perseverance for long-term goals. And her studies have shown that grit is a stronger predictor of achievement than things like IQ or talent across various fields.
So it's not just about being smart or naturally gifted, it's about having that stick-with-itness.
Exactly. Grit encompasses the ability to overcome obstacles, to stay committed even when faced with challenges, and to maintain effort over extended periods of time.
And there's that famous marshmallow experiment that's always cited when talking about willpower, right?
Yes. The marshmallow experiment was a groundbreaking study on delayed gratification. Researchers gave children a choice: eat one marshmallow now or wait a while and get two. And the results were fascinating. The kids who were able to delay gratification and hold out for the bigger reward later on ended up having better outcomes later in life, higher SAT scores, lower body mass index, and even better responses to stress.
It's like those kids who resisted the temptation were building mental muscles that would serve them well throughout their lives.
And what's even more interesting is that recent research suggests that willpower isn't just this fixed trait. It's something that we can actually cultivate and strengthen over time.
So even if we aren't naturally gritty individuals, we can learn to develop that resilience.
That's the exciting part. It seems that our mindset about willpower plays a significant role. If we believe willpower is a limited resource, we tend to give up more easily. But if we believe it's something we can strengthen like a muscle, we're more likely to persevere.
That's incredibly empowering. It means we're not just victims of our natural predispositions. We have the ability to shape our own willpower and influence our success.
And what's even more fascinating is this idea of psychological momentum. As we exert willpower and achieve small wins, it builds confidence and makes it easier to tackle bigger challenges.
So it's not just about pushing through a tough situation, but also about how those small victories build a sense of self-efficacy and create a positive feedback loop.
Exactly. Each act of willpower builds on the last, creating momentum and reinforcing the belief that we can achieve our goals.
This is where those real-life examples become so inspiring, right? Michael Jordan turning early rejection into fuel for his legendary work ethic. Bethany Hamilton returning to pro surfing after losing an arm in a shark attack. These stories show the incredible power of the human spirit to overcome adversity.
Those examples highlight that willpower is not just some abstract concept. It's a tangible force that can drive us to achieve extraordinary things.
But it's important to acknowledge that willpower alone isn't always enough. We also have cautionary tales like Todd Marinovich, the robo-quarterback, who had exceptional talent but struggled to reach his full potential. It seems there's a missing piece to the puzzle.
You're right. Marinovich's story reminds us that talent without the internal drive and discipline can sometimes falter. It underscores the importance of not just having willpower, but also channeling it effectively, which brings us to the crucial role of habits.
So we've established that willpower is essential, but it's not the whole story. We need something to make those efforts sustainable, to bridge the gap between intention and action.
Exactly. And that's where habits come in. They provide a framework for making those positive behaviors we've been discussing more automatic and less reliant on sheer willpower alone.
This is getting really interesting. We've uncovered the science behind willpower, seen the inspiring stories of those who've triumphed through determination, and now we're about to delve into the power of habits. I'm eager to see how these pieces fit together.
Well, let's dive into that in part 2 of our deep dive.
That was like a plan. Join us next time as we explore how habits can supercharge our willpower and help us achieve lasting success. Until then, keep those mental muscles flexing. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We're exploring this fascinating interplay between willpower and habits and how they can drive us towards success.
It's a dynamic duo, for sure. We've seen how crucial willpower is, but it can be exhausting to rely on it constantly. That's where habits come in, providing a structure for those positive behaviors we want to cultivate.
All right, that makes sense. We've all started new routines with tons of enthusiasm, only to fizzle out after a week or two. So how can we make willpower more sustainable in the long run?
Habits are the secret weapon. Think of it this way. Willpower requires conscious effort, while habits automate those actions, making them less taxing on our mental resources.
Okay, so it's like shifting from manual to automatic transmission.
Exactly. Willpower is like shifting gears yourself, while habits are like setting the cruise control. But how do we actually form good habits?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. Every time I try, it feels like an uphill battle.
Habit formation is a process, but thankfully there's a science to it. One key concept is the habit loop cue, routine, reward. The cue triggers the habit. The routine is the action itself, and the reward reinforces the behavior.
So if I wanted to make running every morning a habit, what would my cue be?
It could be as simple as laying out your running clothes the night before. That visual reminder becomes your cue.
Got it. Then the routine is the run itself. Yeah. And the reward, what makes me want to repeat it?
That could be the endorphin rush, the feeling of accomplishment, or simply enjoying the fresh air. That positive reinforcement strengthens the connection, making it more likely you'll repeat the habit.
That makes sense. But what about breaking bad habits? Those seem to linger.
Breaking bad habits is tougher, but we can apply the same principles. Once we understand the habit loop, we can disrupt it. Instead of fighting the bad habit head-on, we outsmart it.
Okay, give me an example. Let's say I have a bad habit of snacking while watching TV.
A cue might be sitting on the couch in front of the television. The routine is reaching for those snacks, and the reward. Maybe it's the taste or the distraction.
Sounds familiar. How do I break that cycle?
Change the environment. Maybe watch TV in a room where you don't usually keep snacks. Or replace the unhealthy snacks with healthier options like fruit.
So instead of relying solely on willpower to resist, I'm setting myself up for success by changing my surroundings.
Exactly. And remember, forming new habits and breaking old ones takes time. Don't get discouraged by slip-ups. Just get back on track.
That's encouraging. It feels more manageable when you break it down like that.
Yeah. So we've talked about the science of habits. But how does this all tie back to willpower?
Willpower, like a muscle, gets tired with use. Good habits automate positive behaviors, reducing the strain on our willpower.
So the more good habits we have, the less we depend on willpower throughout the day.
Precisely. It frees up mental energy for other important things. And as we build good habits, we create momentum. Success breeds success. The more we experience the positive benefits, the more motivated we are to continue.
It's a self-reinforcing cycle. Good habits lead to good choices, which leads to more success, which reinforces those good habits.
Exactly. That's where willpower and habits become this power couple, propelling us toward our goals.
Okay, let's make this concrete. Can you share some examples of people who've used this willpower-habit combination to achieve remarkable things?
Absolutely. Think about Jerry Seinfeld. He had a simple but effective strategy for writing jokes consistently. Every day he wrote new material, he'd mark a big red X on a calendar. His goal, never break the chain of X's.
Oh, so simple, yet so clever.
Yeah. It highlights the power of visual cues and tangible progress. Seinfeld wasn't relying on willpower alone. He created a system, a habit that made consistency easier.
And that consistency fueled his success. Those small, consistent actions can really add up.
Absolutely. Another example is Stephen King. He has a daily writing habit of 2,000 words no matter what. He doesn't wait for inspiration. He simply shows up and does the work.
Wow. It's like he's turned writing into a non-negotiable part of his routine.
Exactly. That's key to developing strong habits, making them as routine as brushing your teeth, not waiting for motivation, but creating a system.
So it's not about willpower alone, but about a system that supports our desired behaviors.
Precisely. Willpower is the initial spark, the fuel that gets us started. Habits are the engine that keeps us going, the autopilot that makes those behaviors automatic.
I love that analogy. Willpower is the ignition, habits are the cruise control.
As we build good habits, our willpower gets stronger too. We become better equipped to handle challenges. It's like willpower and habits work together, propelling us toward our goals.
The best part is that anyone can harness this power. It's not about special talent, but understanding the science of willpower and habit formation and applying it consistently.
This is incredibly empowering. We're uncovering the secrets to success, and they're not as mysterious as we thought.
It's about taking these insights and putting them into action step by step.
This has been an incredible exploration of willpower and habits. We've delved into the science, the inspiring stories, and the practical strategies. I'm feeling incredibly motivated to apply all of this to my own life.
It's exciting to see those wheels turning.
Now let's move on to the final part of our deep dive, where we'll explore some real-world strategies for applying everything we've learned. Join us as we uncover the practical steps to harnessing the power of willpower and habits. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've been on quite a journey exploring this fascinating world of willpower and habits, uncovering the science, the psychology, and even some truly inspiring stories.
And now it's time to bring it all together and discuss how to actually apply these insights to our own lives and make those positive changes we've been talking about.
I am so ready for this. We've laid the groundwork. Now I'm eager to hear those practical strategies for turning knowledge into action. Where do we even begin?
Well, it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one person might not work for another. We're all unique individuals with different goals and lifestyles, but there are some general principles that can guide us.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are some of those guiding principles?
One of the most important things is to start small. Trying to overhaul your entire life overnight is a recipe for burnout. Instead, focus on building one or two key habits at a time.
So it's not about making these grand sweeping changes, but about those incremental steps that build upon each other.
Exactly. Think of it like building a house. You don't start with the roof. You lay a strong foundation brick by brick. Choose those keystone habits that can create a ripple effect in other areas of your life.
So for example, if someone wants to improve their overall health, they might start with something as simple as drinking more water each day.
That's a great example. Something as simple as staying hydrated can lead to a cascade of positive changes. It might lead to eating healthier, feeling more energized, and even sleeping better. Those small wins build momentum.
It's amazing how those seemingly small changes can have such a profound impact. But with so many potential habits to choose from, how do we decide which ones to prioritize?
That's where self-reflection comes in. It's about identifying those habits that truly align with your values and your goals. Ask yourself, what's most important to me? What habits would make the biggest positive difference in my life?
So it's not about following the latest trends or trying to be someone we're not, but about choosing those habits that resonate with our authentic selves.
Absolutely. It's about creating a life that feels meaningful and fulfilling on a personal level. And once you've identified those key habits, the next step is to make them as easy as possible to actually do. Here's where we can leverage the power of what we call environmental design.
Yes. We touched on this earlier when we were talking about breaking bad habits. It's about setting ourselves up for success by making those desired choices the default option.
Exactly. It's about consciously shaping our environment to support our goals. For example, if you want to make reading a regular habit, place a book on your bedside table so it's the first thing you see when you wake up. Or if you want to eat healthier, pre-cut fruits and vegetables and store them at eye level in your refrigerator.
So it's about removing those barriers and making it as convenient as possible to engage in those positive behaviors.
Precisely. It's about reducing the friction and making it more effortless to choose the path you want to be on. And another powerful technique is what we call habit stacking. This involves linking a new habit to an existing one.
I've heard of this. It's like piggybacking on an already established routine. Can you give us an example?
Of course. Let's say you already have a solid habit of brushing your teeth every morning. You could stack a new habit, like doing a quick meditation or stretching routine right after you brush your teeth. That way, the existing habit acts as a trigger for the new one.
That makes so much sense. It's like creating a chain reaction of positive behaviors. And it seems like it would require less mental effort to get started.
Exactly. It takes advantage of the existing neural pathways you've already established. And speaking of mental effort, let's not forget the importance of mindset throughout this entire process.
Yes. We talked about the power of a growth mindset earlier. It's about viewing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth, not as setbacks.
Absolutely. It's about reframing those inevitable obstacles as stepping stones on the path to success. And it's also about being kind to ourselves along the way. We're all human and we're going to slip up from time to time. The key is to not let those slip-ups derail us completely.
Right. It's about having that self-compassion and recognizing that building new habits and strengthening willpower is a journey, not a destination.
I couldn't agree more. It's about progress, not perfection. Celebrate those small wins, learn from those missteps, and just keep moving forward. And finally, let's not underestimate the power of accountability when it comes to making lasting changes.
Yeah. Accountability is so important. Having someone to share your goals with, someone who can offer support and encouragement, can make a world of difference.
It's like having a cheerleader in your corner, reminding you of why you started and helping you stay motivated when those inevitable challenges arise.
Exactly. It could be a friend, a family member, a mentor, or even an online community. The key is to find someone who believes in you and is invested in your success.
And remember, the most important tool in your arsenal is your own belief in yourself. You have the power within you to change your habits, to cultivate willpower, and to create a life that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations.
This has been such an incredible deep dive. We've gone from understanding the science of willpower and habit formation to exploring practical strategies for putting those insights into action. I feel like I have a whole new set of tools and a renewed sense of motivation.
It's been my pleasure to dive into this with you. Remember, it's a journey, not a race. Be patient with yourself, celebrate those small victories, and trust in the process.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this exploration. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and feel empowered to make positive changes in your own lives. Until next time, keep those mental muscles flexing and those good habits growing.